What's up, everybody? It's Josh here, and today I'm going to be making a video about Kyrie Irving because Kyrie Irving has been in the news a lot lately for reasons that I'm not surprised by. And as a Celtics fan, I got a lot to say about Kyrie Irving. I sat through the entire Kyrie Irving experience, and I kind of consider myself an expert on him. but you know, lately, Kyrie Irving has been the enigma that he always has been, going off the grid reportedly, not telling the Nets where he's at, completely just disappearing from the game of basketball. And I think Nets fans are kind of starting to see what us Cavs and Celtics fans were warning them for the past year about now. I mean, like, you guys are seeing it. Like, this is who Kyrie Irving is. I'm gonna go on a huge rant about Kyrie Irving, okay? Kyrie Irving is someone that he has the weirdest fans in the NBA. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Kyrie stands that I see on Twitter and on social media that just defend him to the death are just the oddest people ever. Kyrie almost has a cult going for him, and I'm not even kidding when I say that. Like, Kyrie Irving's fan base is like very, very intriguing for a lot of reasons. But the thing with Kyrie is, the cycle with him has kind of gone from he's toxic to wait, no, maybe he's not really that toxic. Maybe the media is just attacking him, and oh my god, the media is so unfair towards Kyrie Irving. He's so misunderstood. To now back to, yeah, this guy's actually pretty freaking weird. And I'm kind of glad people are starting to see it now, because this narrative that Kyrie Irving is misunderstood and he's just, there's nothing wrong with him and Celtics fans need to get over it. Like, no, listen. Yes, Kyrie Irving has done good things. I'm not saying Kyrie is a bad person, but to sit there and act like Kyrie Irving is just absolved of everything bad he's ever done because of a couple charity things that he's done. Like, look, most NBA players are doing charitable work outside of basketball. Kyrie Irving isn't special, and he's done some good things. I know he donated money to the WNBA and donated money to people struggling through the pandemic, that kind of thing. Like, he's done a lot of good stuff, but that doesn't necessarily take away from a lot of the other things that he's done as an NBA player. I like to compare Kyrie Irving to Antonio Brown. He's almost the Antonio Brown of the NBA, but let's just go over what he's done, okay? So it all started with Cleveland after he asked out of Cleveland because he didn't want to play with LeBron and all this weird stuff, threatened to sit out with surgery if they didn't trade him, that kind of thing, right? And when the Celtics traded for Kyrie Irving, I was heartbroken because I loved Isaiah Thomas, but I thought adding Kyrie Irving was something that could take us over the top. And everything was fine and dandy for about the first year, despite Gordon Hayward going down and Kyrie going down before the playoffs. We made an extraordinary run. The next year was supposed to be great, but this is kind of part of the Kyrie cycle too, is everything's fine and dandy, then Kyrie starts to get sick of things. Once he gets too comfortable, he feels like he has all the power. He just tries to be someone that he's not, right? He talked about wanting to lead his own team, and that's part of the reason I despise Kyrie, is because the situation that he had in Boston, he asked for a situation where he would be the guy, and he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle being a leader. He wasn't a good leader. He constantly threw teammates under the bus. He was saying, and you know what? And they made the Eastern Conference Finals without him and Gordon Hayward. And the next year he was trying to say, these guys don't know what it takes. They don't know what they're doing. They're young. Look, Kyrie, they did better without you. And there's a lot of statistics out there that will show you that the Celtics played better without Kyrie Irving. Yeah, they had a better net offensive rating and stuff like that whenever that Kyrie was out there. But, trust me, Celtics fans who watch those games know the ball moved so much better when Kyrie wasn't out there. The guys looked like they were having fun. And Terry Rozier was amazing in Kyrie Irving's place. And I think a lot of Celtics fans have a sour taste in their mouth from Terry Rozier towards the end. But I feel like Terry Rozier also threw Kyrie Irving under the bus on First Take after that season too. But I feel like a lot of people now are kind of starting to see why, and I honestly I don't understand the hate towards Terry Rozier. I love Terry Rozier. I really wouldn't have minded keeping him, but I think he kind of burned the bridge after going on First Take, which is fine, whatever. I don't care. But Kyrie, there was reports that he was talking to the Brooklyn Nets players 2 months into the season after he said that whole little "I'm resigning with Boston" thing when he was in the stadium and said to the fans. 2 months after that, he was talking to Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie and some of those guys that were on the Nets, and he was recruiting players in the Nets before the season was even over. And if you think players on the Celtics didn't hear about that and didn't know about that, you're crazy. Like, they definitely knew some stuff was going on, and I feel like that was part of the reason that the Celtics fell apart that year. And a lot of people, the Kyrie defenders tried telling me, like, look, you don't, like, Kyrie wasn't the problem. He wasn't, like, okay, Kyrie wasn't the only problem, but to sit there and say that he wasn't a problem is just factually inaccurate. Like, Kyrie Irving was a cancer to that team. Players now are cool with him. Him and Jason Tatum are friends, but that's kind of because of their Duke connection. But Jaylen Brown reportedly was not a huge fan of Kyrie, and there was a lot of players on that team that weren't a huge fan of Kyrie. Gordon Hayward, some of those guys too. The Celtics, like I said, Kyrie Irving wasn't the only problem. Like, Marcus Morris was kind of a hothead. Terry Rozier, he was kind of unhappy with his role, but like, Kyrie Irving was he was the main problem. And if you go back and look at that Bucks series, that last Bucks playoff series before Kyrie left, people forget Kyrie Irving was playing with a foot out the door. That was one of the worst playoff series by a superstar in the last 25 years. Kyrie Irving, his numbers from that series were horrible. He shot under 30% in like every single game. Like, he was bad, and he was telling everyone what to do, and he was switching on defense. He was switching himself on Giannis, and then would just let Giannis drive straight to the hoop. He was awful. Like, it literally was one of the worst playoff performances by a superstar in the last 25 years. I'm not even joking. Like, go back and look at the numbers. Kyrie Irving played with a foot out the door. It was horrible. And that's why Celtics fans will tell you that Kemba is better than Kyrie, not because Kemba is a better player than Kyrie, but he's just better for the Celtics than Kyrie was. And you saw that when Kemba was on the floor for the Celtics. Kemba's been struggling with injuries and stuff like that lately, but but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, Kyrie, he was just a toxic teammate. He's nearly uncoachable. And Nets fans were so excited when they got him and they got KD. And I think, the Nets were hesitant. It's been reported the Nets were hesitant to sign Kyrie, but the reason they did it was to appease KD, and they knew that would help in landing KD because KD and Kyrie are friends. And I even thought that maybe Kyrie going to the Nets would be good for him too, because even though Boston traded for him, Boston was not on his original list of teams he wanted to go to, if people remember. But Kyrie Irving going to Brooklyn, I thought would be better for him because that is where he chose to go there in free agency, right? And I thought that his friendship with KD would negate any potential distractions or anything like that. Yet, here we are, about a year later, right? Over a year later, and Kyrie Irving has reportedly went off the grid. He's missed the last few games with the Nets. He failed to tell them where he was. Now it's being reported that he wasn't in favor of the Steve Nash hiring and all this crazy stuff. And Nets fan, I've even seen a few Nets fans on my Twitter timeline like switching up on Kyrie now. Like, yeah, I defended this guy, but now this is getting a little ridiculous. And I think Kevin Durant, it's different when you're just friends with a player in the NBA, but to be their teammate and see them up close and see all this going down, I think even KD's having second thoughts about just how crazy Kyrie Irving is. Like, this is who Kyrie Irving is, guys. Like, people will say he's misunderstood and all this stuff. No, this is what Kyrie does, all right? He purposely gives the media bulletin material knowing they're going to talk about it. And then he acts surprised when he's victimized by fans and the media and stuff like that for failing to answer questions or just doing all this crazy stuff. When in reality, it's his fault for doing it. Like that thing with the sage on the court before the game. Like, what the hell are you doing? But I think people just sometimes don't want to admit that the dude is crazy. Like, this stuff that he's doing, like, this isn't normal. Like, he's such a diva. He's the Antonio Brown of the NBA. He's not misunderstood. He could be misunderstood to an extent, but he's not. The people who defend him endlessly, like, why? Like, some of this stuff is just outrageous. And Kyrie, I don't know. Oh, look. Wow. Right in the middle of making this video, James Harden has been traded to the Nets. It's remained to be seen if Kyrie Irving's in the deal or not. Kyrie Irving could be being moved. I doubt it, though. We'll see. But maybe this is to supplement Kyrie's disappearance, and maybe this is something Kevin Durant, wanted. But it'll be interesting to see if Kyrie, Harden, and Durant can get along on the floor all at the same time. But yeah, guys, I just want to make a quick little rant on Kyrie because I feel like people just are too apologetic for him, and it just gets a little old. And we tried warning Nets fans about this. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say for today. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.